Hello, hello. We are live, and today I have an amazing guest who has got some great insight on getting unstuck. So I can't wait to dig in. Before we get started, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Patricia Brooks, and I am an American expat living in the south of France. And I am also the author of 2 books, soon to be 3. I'm so excited to get this next book out. And I am the creator of the Carefree Expat Incubator program, which helps single women who are ready to take the next step in their move abroad process get over their fears and doubts so they can finally start living in their dream country. And on my YouTube channel, I post content about living in France, moving abroad, and finding the confidence and courage to live life on your terms. And today, as I said, we've got a wonderful guest, Janeen Sonsie. I hope I'm pronouncing your name
correctly. That's absolutely correct.
And she has made a move from Australia to France, and she's going to share her story and some insights on breaking through some blocks so that you can live the kind of life you want to live. All right. I see some people have joined. So before I let Janeen introduce herself, I would like to make sure that everybody can hear me. So if you are joining live, can you type in the chat where you're joining us from? All right. So I hope that you guys have questions about getting unstuck, because that's what this is all about today. All right.
Yes.
So as we're waiting to get some comments to make sure people can hear us, I'm going to let Janeen go ahead and introduce herself. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Patricia. It's really great to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to be able to talk to your audience. And hi, everybody. So yes, as Patricia said, I'm an Australian. I'm living in France, and I just want you to see that is the view from my office window as the sun is starting to set. We're getting starting to get the pink in the sky.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
yeah, I share that. So a little bit about me. I have a background in the IT industry from, I don't know, another lifetime ago. And I am now a coach, and I'm a breakthrough coach. So I help people break through, well, women in particular, and aspiring leaders break through their barriers that stop them from achieving and creating the life that they desire. And so that's sort of my thing. And I've reinvented myself several times, as I just said, IT coaching, training, corporate training. I've done lots of different things, public speaking, of course. And I think sort of the main thing for me is you keep going. You keep try something new.
Yeah.
That's probably what it is. And I used to think my song was, the song, you get knocked down, but you get up again. You ain't never going to keep me down. That was my song for quite a while. I had quite a few knocks there.
Yeah.
But, hey,
here you are. Living the life. Now you are. Hi, Dion. I see Dion has joined, and hopefully she can hear us. Nobody's saying they can't hear, so we're going to go with that.
That's a good sign.
Hi, Yagami. So you said that you showed us that beautiful view. Where in France are you?
I am on the Côte d'Azur, or as most people know it, the French Riviera.
Yeah.
And I am in a little place or a town called Vence, which is just at the foot of the hills, sort of north of Nice. I'm about 20 minutes. The best sign is 20 minutes inland from Nice Airport.
Okay.
And it's fabulous because I can easily get to Nice and Antibes and Cannes and Monaco. and all of these fabulous places.
Yeah, that view is amazing. I got a nice view, but I don't think my view tops that.
Oh, you should see the view from the front of my apartment. That actually looks out to the Mediterranean Sea. So I'm up the hill and I can see all the way to the Mediterranean Sea.
Nice. Well, so Janeen, so we're going to dig into, blocks and get working through blocks in a minute. I want to learn a little bit more about your story. When we spoke earlier, you shared that you'd been wanting to get to France for a long time. Where did that come from?
I don't really know, to be honest. It's just always been in me. And I think it must have been a past life. I'm quite sure I've had past lives in France, and I've lived in chateaus and all sorts of wonderful things. And so I think it's just been an inherent thing. I've always been a Francophile. So I've always loved France and French things and been drawn to it. And I first came to France when I was 25 and I just loved it. And then I got married at 27 and came over to live in England. And every time, it was like, it's my birthday or something. Where do you want to go? To a French restaurant in France.
Yeah. So there's been a theme in your life.
Yeah. And it's just something I've always wanted. It's always been there, sort of at the back.
Yeah. And so when did you finally find the confidence, courage, break through your blocks to make your move to France?
I was holding on. Well, there were a couple of reasons I was holding on to living in Australia. One was that I had elderly and unwell parents. And so in the nicest way possible, I was waiting for them to die just because I wanted to be there with them. And I was also struggling to find the work and the income and, and earn enough money to live on in Australia. But I thought, well, if I can't make it work in my home country where I speak the language and have the network, how could I make life work in another country where I don't speak the language and I have no network, I have no family, I have no one? So that was my fear. That was what was holding me back. And I went to see a channeler one day, and I asked him, what's my block? What's stopping me from moving forward? And he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to help women live a more fulfilling life. And he asked me, well, how well are you doing that yourself? And I said, pretty crappily, actually. And then he said something to me which really struck home, and it was, our purpose in life is not to serve others. And I went, what? I've just done 20 years of personal development and learning that it is. And he said, no, our purpose in life is to live the fullest, happiest life for ourselves. And then we will have the energy. Sorry.
Photobomb.
I just got photobombed. Back to the story. He said, once we're doing that, we have the energy and the vibration around us that will attract other people and want to hear our story. So I went, well, if that's the case, I may as well just sell up and move to France, because that's what I really want to do. It had been my 5-year plan for the last 10 years, and I just kept putting it off and putting it off.
And so when did you make that move?
So that was in not 19. Oh, I'm getting old. That was in 2017. I had that reading.
Okay.
And then I put everything into the plan. I went to my osteosurgeon and said, right, I'm going to France and I need to have a look. Just sorry. Say hello. Right, and now go. You've seen the ad that when you're preparing for a Zoom meeting, there's a cat taped up on the wall. That's what I need. So it was 2017 that I had that, and I just went into action mode. I went, right, I'm doing it. And I cleared my house out, sold, got rid of half my stuff, and she's back. and then I went to my orthopedic surgeon, and said I need a knee replacement, and it has to be the end of August, because the house is going on the market in September.
Wow.
House on the market. So the reading was in May. So I got everything ready. The house went on the market in September, sold at the end of September. I had a 3-month plan. I then, after having a total knee replacement, I then packed up my 3-bedroom, 2-story home, and first of all came to Nice for 3 months without a visa, and to go to French school. And I was going to go to the Dordogne region because I love it there. It's beautiful. But I was also decided when I was in Nice that it was a really good place to start up a group for expat women. And so I started a group on Facebook called Expat Women in France, which now has over 16,500 women in it.
Wow.
And
so you really worked when you got here. You worked.
Oh, I've been working at something, not necessarily earning money, but I've been working.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean, working, right? So
now, I'm so not retired. I turn 64 this week, and I'm working 3 jobs and starting a new coaching. Like, the new coaching business is quite new, even though I've been coaching for 20 years. And
let me ask you this. So you had the reading with the channeler, right? So, and he said, our goal is not to help people. Our goal is to help us live the most happy.
To live the happiest life we can for ourselves, and then we can do what we need to do to help others.
Right. And so that was the aha that you needed.
Yes.
And so that got everything going. And what held you back was this idea that if I can't make it in my own country, how can I make it in a country that I don't even speak that language well, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's an incredible story, because sometimes all it takes is just somebody saying something to say, oh, well, if that's true, right? And obviously you believed it was true because you started making plans to make it happen.
Yeah.
The question I have is, once you got the ball rolling, were there other blocks, or did that thought about how am I going to make this work in this other country, did that continue to come up, or was it gone?
No, no, that was there, still there.
All right.
I mean, I had to get a working visa, so to be able to come and live here. You can't just immigrate to France. You can only get a visa based on your working status or retirement, or whatever it might be. And so I still needed to work. I still needed to find ways to earn an income, and so that was still there.
Well, so how did you work through that, right? Because you can have the aha, and that can get the ball rolling, but then there's that voice in the back of your head, or maybe in the front of your head, that says, "Oh yeah, who are you fooling? How are you going to pull this off?"
I didn't have that voice, because I knew in my heart this was the right decision for me. The fact
okay, you didn't have the voice. So then you were cured with that one.
It was, it's really interesting, because lots of people said to me, "Oh, you're so brave, you're so courageous." And I didn't feel brave and courageous. I felt like I was just doing what I had to do.
Yes.
I was following my heart and my soul calling.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the most important things, when you're moving, when you're thinking about moving countries by personal choice. I mean, I had got to the stage in Australia where I wasn't happy living there anymore. I didn't feel at home, even though I was born there.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, when I came to France, it was like,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
even though I had all these other challenges to deal with, I mean, both my parents died in the first year of living here, and I had to go back to
Wow.
Australia.
Wow.
And work and income wasn't easy. It has not been a simple flow. But
Mm-hmm.
because I know I'm meant to be here and I feel at home and I love it here,
Mm-hmm.
I don't question it
Yeah.
because I'm meant to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was really something that was really deep, like a soul calling, saying, this is what you're supposed to do. You don't necessarily know the how or how it's going to work out. You're going to just go ahead and make it happen. And how long have you been in France now?
5 years.
5 years. Wow. Great. Great.
Yeah.
And so what would you say, people are listening in, they have dreams of moving to a foreign country, moving to France, you know, and maybe, and you're a breakthrough coach, so you help people break through to live the kinds of lives that they want to live.
Yeah.
How, what would you recommend to somebody who is like, yeah, I want to do this thing there, but they aren't moving forward. They don't necessarily have that fire inside of them that just says, I'm doing this, doesn't make sense, but I know this is right for me. What are some of the things that you work with your clients on to help them move through?
Well, it's really overcoming the fears, because if you don't have that fire, it's because you're scared of what might happen. So there's a lot of fears involved, that can catch us up. And it's, fear of the unknown, because of course everything's unknown when you move to another country. Fear of failure, fear of not being able to earn money, not being able to make friends. Like if we focus on all these fears, we will never do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's about identifying the fears and recognizing, well, okay, as I don't know who said, but feel the fear and do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yes, not everything is easy. Yes, there are many challenges, but just take it that is part of the package. And, dive into that unknown pool and go with curiosity rather than fear, and go, wow, isn't this a great adventure? I wonder what I'm going to learn. I
Mm-hmm.
wonder what I'm going to find out about me. I
Mm-hmm.
wonder what challenges I'm going to have to deal with,
Mm-hmm.
because they're all going to be great learning experiences.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So what a couple of things that I'm hearing so far are, you had this deep desire, this longing from your soul, from your core, that said you needed to be in France, and that kind of got you just moving in the right direction. And I can so relate, because my move here it was I hadn't wanted to live in France forever. I was not a Francophile, but all of a sudden I needed to get to France. And so I didn't question, well, how are you going to make it last? Or what are you going to do? I just got here. And it wasn't until after I got here that like, oh, Patricia, what have you done? Settled in. But I did have that drive that's similar to yours that was, pushing me along. So I think one of the things that I work with my clients on is getting to their why. Why
Yeah,
is it, right? Because maybe it's
yeah.
not just like something that's just driving them. Why? Or maybe they're not clear on that. Why
Mm,
is it that they're going to turn their lives upside down to move to a foreign country and start over again? Because that's exactly what it is. And that's, if you're older in life, you kind of forget, oh, how do you set up a bank account and all that stuff that you dealt
uh,
with years ago, right?
whatever you've known from any other country will not help you in France. It is so ancient. There is so many issues to deal with bureaucracy.
But I think that that's true. I mean, yes, France is particular, but I think other countries have their own issues as well. Because if you're, but anyway, so getting to that why, and I think that why then helps with, you know, when you identify fears. The second thing I heard you say was identify fears, because one of the things that held you back was the uncertainty, the fear of the unknown. But then if you identify that and then start to turn that on its head and look at that as curiosity, you know, instead of, you know, what if the negative, or how will, kind of turn that into a place of curiosity and ask those questions.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that's really important is to be, you know, to keep a positive mindset and be optimistic, so that you're not focusing on all the negatives that could go wrong. You're focusing on what are the positives I'm getting out of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and every day I give thanks for this apartment I live in, and for being here in France and having a beautiful view and the beautiful restaurants we can go out to. And, you know, there's lots of things. And then once you get here, it's about not getting bogged down by the challenges, but keeping on going on. This is an adventure. I'm enjoying the adventure.
Yes. So not getting bogged down. You've been here, you've been in France for 5 years. Not getting how do you handle not getting bogged down in all of the challenges?
Depends on the week, you ask me.
You got a bottle of wine over there?
Several. So I at the moment I'm in the process of having to change banks again, because I have 2 banks and they've both sold to other French banks, and the new banks haven't suited me at all. And so last week I was online, because my French is still not good, I will admit it, and I was online trying to find a new bank and ask questions. And, you know, every time you contact customer service, you know, God forbid they should have a customer service for English-speaking people, or people who don't speak French fluently, even. And so I was super, super frustrated and angry, because all I wanted to do was answer one question and I couldn't get it answered. But I got over it. It's like, yep, that's French banks. And sometimes it's just a matter of talking to other people, going out, you know, talking to friends, letting the energy go.
Yeah.
Because there will be frustrations. There will be times where you go, oh my God, I can't cope. And then you've just got to go.
Yeah. So you brought up language, and I want to touch base there, but I want to greet some people who have joined us. Pat Bond from New Mexico, Linda Houston back in the DMV. Hey, Linda, I'm going to be in Richmond on February 25th. I'm having a meetup, so I don't know if you'll be able to join. Come on down. Love to see you there. And Deanne says, amen to that. Amen. Love that. That was something from a long time ago. Ishul Sharon. Greetings from Philly. I was born in Philly, so yes. LJ Hill. Greetings from Chicago. She's Italy bound. Yes. Welcome. Stacy. Hi, Stacy, from Chicago as well. And you're Sweden bound. Yes. And Jeanquette, good morning, good afternoon to you. I'm not sure where you are from. All right. So yeah, just wanted to greet everybody. If you have questions for me, if you have questions for Janeen, please go ahead and put them in the chat and we will entertain them. So
I like that. We will entertain them.
Oh, you're a non. So good evening. So the question you were talking about, you know, is with the challenges. and the language challenge. And you said that you're still working on that. Can you, what is, what was your, help us understand what that's like and what things you're doing to work to figure that out.
Well, I have been lucky that I've done 3 lots of 3 months of intensive French.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first time when I first came to Nice in 2018, and then I came back to live at the end of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And then I, through OFI, the Office of French Immigration and Integration, with the particular visa
Unveils.
I have
Mm-hmm.
is a professional liberal. And so they offered me, I've actually had 2 lots of 100 hours. So firstly, to get up to A1 level and then to get to A2 level. And so and I'm sort of teetering on B1 level.
Good. Nice.
To get citizenship, I have to get to B2 level, which means I have to be, I have to get conversational.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest problem at the moment. I can get by in shops. So I've done some online courses. I'm not good with online courses myself, but lots of people swear by them.
I think that, I think it's the consistency, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah.
You see, this is my problem. I live alone. I work from home. I do business English communication coaching. I teach public speaking at the International University of Monaco, and I'm doing my own coaching. It's all English speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm speaking English all day, and I'm not having conversations in French, and that's my biggest holdup.
Yeah.
And everyone says watch French TV and do this and watch movies and stuff. And look, I say it to my own English, like my own business English clients. But for me, because what I do during the day is so intense and working on your own business is really intense, by the time I get to the end of the day, I'm like, I'm too tired to listen to French.
Yeah. What's your why? That's the question, right?
Well, my why, I have 2 very strong whys. One is to be able to have conversations with French speaking people particularly in my local village.
And why is that important to you?
Because I don't like sitting there and not understanding what they're talking about.
All right. And so if you understood what they were talking about, what would that mean for your life?
I would just feel more integrated and more comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I could get to know them better.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It's like, it's just being able to converse, and, communication is my thing, and I'm really good at it in English. And so this is a thing. It's such a challenge for me to communicate in a language I'm not good at.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one why, right? And that's a strong one, to be able to really communicate with your community, integrate, just understand, be understood.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really important. And the other why is to get French citizenship. And so I have to get up to B2 level to be able to get that.
And why is getting French citizenship so important to you?
I just want a European passport.
Yeah. And why is that important to you?
I don't have to stand in long queues at the airport.
Keeping it real.
Yeah. You know what? If I think about it, I don't have a lot of logical reasons for becoming a French citizen. I think it's just that I feel at home here. Yeah. This is my home.
Yeah. I'm there. I'm right there with you.
So I want this passport that says, you belong here.
Yeah. On paper, right? You belong, but
Yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I think that as you shift, you get up earlier and you study in the morning, or you watch programs in the morning. but reminding yourself of I want the passport, right? I want to be able to understand my neighbors, right? Those
Yeah.
things, just put those at the forefront, and that's your why, to kind of say, oh, or if it's late, it's like, I'm tired and I want the passport, right? And you just push yourself to do it.
Yeah, I'm studying a new class this Friday. They have a local French conversation class
Mhm.
on Friday, so I'll see how I go. I suspect, and other people suspect, that I actually know a bit more than I think I know.
Yeah, we got a comment here. See, this is what scares me, learning a new language. I'm not really afraid of the move afraid. It's learning language. That really takes time and consistency. Yes.
It does, Ishuel. Where do you want to move to? What's the language you need to learn? Not that I can help you with it anyway.
All right.
But
And we'll let
you're
her
right.
comment. We'll let her comment and come
Yeah.
back.
But you're
Um,
right. It does take a lot of effort, and I find that the older you are, that the harder it is to learn.
mhm,
And everyone says that.
mhm,
It's true. Yeah.
mhm.
So
And Lori says, I totally understand and agree with Janine. I'm engulfed in English all day at my work, with my work, and take Italian evening courses. At the end of the workday, my mind is fried and it's hard to focus. Yes. What's
yeah,
your why? Yes.
exactly, Laurie. That's
Mhm.
it. And I think you do have to find the time. You do have to prioritize it,
And,
and it's
and
be
tap into that why, because I think
yeah.
otherwise you're not going to prioritize it if it really doesn't matter, right?
The thing is, apart from having to call customer service banks customer service here, I get along really well with, I would say, a minimal level of French, because on the Côte d'Azur, the Riviera, so many people speak English. And I walk into shops. Well, actually, this doesn't happen anymore, which I'm really proud about. But I'd walk into shops and I'd speak to them in French, and they'd answer me in English. And I'd go, I'm practicing. But now they don't. Now they actually respond to me in French, and I can have a little banter with them.
Good.
So I think, oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
So Spain and Spanish, and yep, it's if you're in the US though, I mean, isn't there a lot of opportunity for learning Spanish there? Like, start learning before you leave.
Yeah,
That's what
that's
I
what I
say.
highly recommend that too. And one thing that I still have a language exchange partner. I go through
Mhm.
conversationexchange.com and found, I had two at one point, but people who are here in France and they want to learn English and I want to improve my French. And so we do an hour call and 30 minutes it's in English, 30 minutes it's in French. And what I love about that, especially now that I feel like my French is probably good enough, but I always want to get better, is
Mhm.
that the conversations I have now are about cultural things. Like the last
Oh, that's
conversation we
good.
had was about the unions, right? Because they had this agricultural strike, and I
Mm,
wanted to understand a little bit more about that. And, well, if I were working someplace, would I be able to get into a union? All those sorts of things. And so I think that exchange, it's even more than just the language, but it's the culture. So if you can get a language exchange partner that have something in common with, that's a great way to move
yeah,
forward as well.
it absolutely is. And like, I have had many opportunities, especially with my business English coaching. I've had people say, "Oh, you know, I'll help you,"
Mhm,
as in, you know, the English and the French exchange.
mhm,
And I think it's just that I've had a lot on my plate since I arrived here with starting up one business which didn't work,
mhm,
and then I had health issues, and I've got many excuses.
mhm. Yeah, so Stacy,
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what I'm doing. My husband and I go in person to Swedish classes at the Swedish American Museum here in Chicago, even though we don't leave until summer. Oh, you got a date. Oh, that's wonderful, Stacy. I'm so excited for you.
Is that new, the date?
Well, the last time I spoke with Stacy was a couple years ago, and
Okay.
she commented that she's been on a journey, a long journey,
Mm-hmm.
um, to get to Sweden. So yeah,
A
so
17-year journey. Yeah, okay. I can relate to that, Stacey.
yeah,
Mine was like 30 years.
wow, wow. But you're here now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I guess it's not all. It's not all. There's definitely some downsides because it's administratively and language wise and all of that. But it sounds to me like this was the best thing that you could have done. Listening to that healing practitioner was probably the best thing that you could do.
Yeah. It I am far happier now, even though life still isn't perfect, but I'm
Mhm.
far happier than I ever was in Australia because I felt confined. I just felt like I didn't belong anymore. And once you get that, you've got to get out. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
wondering in Australia, how do you grow up learning? You don't. You don't. That's the problem. I didn't even learn French at school.
Yeah.
Same as the US, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, I think that that's a big challenge. I think,
Yeah.
but finding your why, the consistency, finding opportunities to speak to people in the language that you're going for, because I think at some point you can study and you can do Duolingo and all of that, but the proof is in the pudding. You got to have those
Yeah,
conversations.
exactly. You've still got to
Mhm.
you've got to start having conversations, and that's what I need to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So what else would you like to share about your experience, your 5-year experience here in France?
I okay. I think so. I was thinking just before, it's about being committed to your purpose for coming here. I, you know, that's how you overcome the fears as well. It's if you're committed to your dream and go, well, I'm going to make it happen no matter what, then that gives you the strength to go, yeah, those fears don't matter. Like, okay, I hear them, but I'm not going to accept them and let them overrule my thinking, because my purpose is to get to France, get to Spain, get to Italy, get to Sweden, whatever country it might be. And 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 that's my focus. So I'm going to stay committed to that, and then it helps you get over all the hurdles. And
Mhm.
you just go like, okay, it's a hurdle, I've got to get over it. And you might have a few tears, and you might have,
Mhm.
get a bit angry at times, and all of these emotions come up. But there's so many good emotions. It's the
Mhm.
excitement of the new, and it's like, oh my God, I'm finally here. And
It,
that's a brilliant feeling.
it sounds to me too like you have a good that you give yourself grace, that you can forgive yourself. Like, so it sounds to me like things aren't always perfect, right? And so sometimes there are tears, as you said, but
Yeah.
then you continue on. Like, I know when I was younger, I would always I call rake myself over the coals. I did something I thought was stupid, and then I just would replay it in my mind over and over and over
Mhm.
again,
Yeah.
right? I think you have to be able to give yourself grace, know that it might not be pretty, the things that you will encounter and will try to navigate. And like you said, there may be tears, but on the other side of that is to, as you say, pick yourself back up, that song, right?
Mhm.
And keep on going. And I think that that drive, that desire to be in the country that you're going for is a thing that will give you that resilience and that continue to help move you forward.
Yeah. I have So there's three things that I do, and they really do help with the resilience. So it's surrender, acceptance, and letting go. So you surrender to what is. You accept that what's done is done, and what you did. And then you let go and you accept that you are where you are because you made the decisions to be there. And then you let go of your expectations of it being any different. Because if we let go of our expectations, then we also let go of disappointment.
So you surrender, acceptance, and let go of
Surrender,
expectations.
accept, and let go. And once you have the acceptance, it really, really helps you to go, okay, I mean, like, so I arrived here at the very end of December in 2018. And then my mother died in April. And then my father died in October. And, that was really upsetting because I wasn't there with them at the end. And I did think, well, if only you'd died last year while I was still there, but I had to just accept that was the way it was. And there was nothing else I could do about it. And I had to fly home, twice in the first year of being here.
Yeah.
But I let go of, like I could have bashed myself up saying, oh, I should have stayed another year and I could have been there with them and I should have done, or I could have done, all these shoulda, couldas, they don't help us.
Yeah.
I'd made the decision as I needed to make it for myself, and it was what it was.
Yes. And that idea of living, I'm not going to get the quote right, living to the life that can make us the most happy. What you said in the beginning, I think that goes back to that, right? Because you did what you needed to do to live that, experience that. And while things turned out the way they did, it's not anything that you could change and not anything you probably would want to change.
No. Well, I would have liked to have been with my parents. That's the only thing I would change. But I think it comes down to making conscious decisions in your life. And I made that conscious decision knowing that I most likely, like 99% probability, was not going to be there with my parents at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was still a conscious decision. It was like, I have to go now. I can't wait any longer.
Yeah. Sometimes, I've heard it said that people die, like they want you to leave, right? Like somebody is in the room of somebody who's dying, right? And they're there constantly. And then they get up to go and do something. They come back and the person has died. And I've heard it said that they don't want to disappoint, so they kind of want to leave when you're, so perhaps there's some element of that.
Possibly. I mean, I said my goodbyes to both my parents. My mum actually had advanced Lewy bodies dementia, so she wasn't really coherent. And I said to her, Mum, it's okay for you to go. Like, we're all okay. You can go now. It's fine. And so I said my goodbyes to her. The hardest one was my dad, because like they're both in aged care facilities. Like they're both in the same facility. And so when I said, I'm going to tear up now. But when I said goodbye to him after Mum's funeral service, as in, when I was leaving to come back to France, we were both very teary because we both knew it was the last time we'd see each other.
Yes. Oh.
And that was really hard. So, yeah, I mean, and this is the thing, when you do move countries when you're older, your parents are older, and it's harder to leave them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's something that people say, I can't leave until. My parents both had passed before I moved, and I don't know that I would have moved if they were still living. So I understand that how
Mm.
you were torn
Yeah,
to make that move.
yeah.
We have a
And I
question.
think,
Oh, go ahead.
it's,
Go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
okay, I think also, like, I don't have children, so that made it a lot easier for me to move, because I know
Mhm.
people with children, they've got the pull of the children back in their home, in their previous country. I'm not going to
Mhm.
say home country anymore.
Mhm.
uh, did I have support from my family when I told them I was moving? No, I have not had any support from my family. My family was close-minded, and I'm quite happy to be half a world away from them. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know if that helps or not. Love it,
but
love
but
it.
you know what? You choose your family, and all my friends were supportive, and they're like, "Oh, that's fantastic, Janeen. It's what you've always wanted to do. That's really great." So you just get your support from where people are supportive.
Mhm.
you know
Yeah.
and I think families are often, particularly parents, they're often a little bit like, yeah, Stacey, exactly. And I think they, a lot of them for them, it's their fear that they won't see, well, they're not going to see you as much, they're not going to see you again, how will they cope without you? It can often be their reason for not being supportive.
Yeah.
So try and see it from their perspective as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Great, great. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share before we wrap up?
um yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's sort of a recap of what I've said, but you know, if you don't feel at home in the country you're living in, and you have a desire, and it's, well, even more than a desire, a yearning to be in another country, and particularly if you know what country that is, then my advice is absolutely follow, that if you've got that yearning, it's your soul's yearning. It's your soul telling you that's where you're meant to be in this lifetime.
Mhm.
And my advice is just follow it. Like, do whatever you need to do to follow that yearning, because you'll be so happy you did.
Mhm. Yeah. I agree. I agree. And I think sometimes that means getting the help, right? Sometimes it means going to somebody and saying, "What's my block? Help me with that," right? And getting that aha moment that moves
Yeah.
you forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, therapy, counseling. I mean, I went to a psychotherapist for many years to work through lots and lots of different things. And like I just said before, get your support from those who want to support you. Don't try to get your support from those who don't.
Mhm.
And and you do need support. And it is hard doing it on your own,
Mhm.
um, but it's worth it. It's worth
Yeah.
every single
Look at
bit of
that
it.
smile. Look at that smile. You can't fake that. Wow.
Yeah.
So if there are any questions that you have for me or for Janeen, now is the time to put them in the chat. Um, I want to ask Janine to share a little bit about her breakthrough coaching and how people can get in touch with you or work with you on that.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to do that. Um, so, I am a breakthrough coach. This is actually a new title I've come up with because I've been refining what I'm doing, and I have a process that comes from women-centered coaching. It's a very well proven process that I follow, and it's about identifying your blocks and your barriers and what holds you back from achieving what you want to achieve in life. and I have a great process for breaking through that, which is all about changing your perception and your mindset and your self-concept, and then creating the plan, creating your success blueprint to create and live that life that you want. And yeah, so it's a very exciting program, and people just love the insight that they're able to get through that. And yeah, that's my website, getrealcommunication.com. And on there, you'll find that you can download the Get Real mindfulness ritual, which is an ebook that I've created for a process for just 15 minutes a day, really honing on what you're feeling and what you need to do on a daily basis. So, that's a great start to really check in and understand yourself.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. We've got a question here, and
Ishwal again. Hello.
what would you say is the first step in moving in the direction of living abroad? Do you want to, you go ahead and take it, and then I'll give my 2 cents.
Committing to doing it. That is the first step, making that commitment and going, yep, I'm doing it. Do you want to know beyond that, Ishwal? Then it's creating a plan to go, what do I need to do and when, and what do I need to get, and following that plan to make it happen.
And I would agree, decide, right? I speak to a lot of people who want to move abroad. Maybe they're not even sure of the country. I think making a decision on the country, and understanding the why, or tapping into that intuition, that drive, that thing that is motivating you, that is making you say, I want to live in this foreign country. What will you be able to do, or experience when you are living in this new country? Having that vision of what your life could look like, because I think once you've decided, right, and once you have that vision and that drive, then you can start to kind of swat away the how, right? And then say, okay, I've decided. And then you reach out for help. You can, do your research. There are certain things that you can do. But I think the first step in moving in the direction of living abroad is deciding and getting that vision.
Yeah, because that is what turns your dream into a reality. Mm-hmm. So you make the decision, you create the plan, and then you're on the path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I hope that is helpful. Or I hope that's helpful, Ishwal. Is there something that you are stuck on in particular about moving in the direction of living abroad? I'll put the ball back in your court.
Yeah. What's holding you back from doing it?
Yeah. Let's do this. All right. And then I've got some comments here. No questions. Just wanted to be supportive of you too. And those in the chat, thank you, Stacy. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate that.
Stacy with no E. And I'm Janeen with 2 E's.
And then Pat, thanks so much for the encouragement. All right.
You're welcome, Pat. Just do it.
All right. Well, so I'm going to share what I have. I have the Carefree Expat Incubator Program, and that is a supportive community. So we talk about finding the people who will support you in your move abroad. It's a program that helps single women who are ready to start the next chapter of their lives living in a foreign country. And there are 2 components to that. There is the online curriculum that walks you through getting to know your why and setting that vision, it takes you through the habits that you're going to need to create to become the kind of person, to see yourself as that kind of person who moves abroad confidently and sustainably. And then there's the third part of the curriculum, which is about creating the plan and working that plan. On the other side of that, there is the online group coaching and mentoring calls twice a week, where you bring your questions and your concerns and what you find challenging, and we work through that. And there's access to this for 3 whole years, which means that you sign up before you move abroad, you make your move abroad. When you're abroad and you're finding yourself challenged, you still have a supportive community to kind of say, this isn't working. What should I do? And you have that place to be supported. So that's the Carefree Expat Incubator Program. And if that sounds like something that could move you forward, then be sure to go to thecouragecatalyst.com, future expat, and schedule some time on my calendar for a free discovery call so that I can find out where you are in the process and where you want to be and what things might be holding you back. And you and I together can see if our working together makes sense. So, like I said, if that sounds like something that could help you, be sure to schedule your complimentary discovery call.
That sounds really great.
Thank you.
I'd like to get back to Ishwal here. And
Yes,
she said, I think what's holding back is where, when, and how. So, Ishwal, you need to do some research, love. So your first step is to go do some traveling, like listen to your intuition, check in with, when you think about different countries, and find, what are you actually drawn to? Oh, you've got, where should I relocate? Brilliant questionnaire. And then I would say, go visiting. You've got to go visit these countries and see what you like.
Yeah, I think that's a really,
before you buy it.
I think it's a really good idea. So this where should I relocate questionnaire has questions that you might that will help you to kind of narrow down your region of the world. Because if you think, oh, I could live in, Japan, and I could live in Mexico, and then it kind of is hard to go on scouting trips to all of those places. But if you can narrow down by saying, oh, I want to be within 6 hours, a 6-hour flight of, the United States or whatever country you're coming from, that helps to say, okay, maybe it's not Japan, it's got to be in this radius. And so there are other questions like that can help you to narrow things down. And then, as Janeen said, I do believe that going on scouting trips and experiencing the place, because that was for me. I knew I wanted to live in a French speaking country because I wanted to become fluent in French. And I considered Canada. But when I got to France, I thought, yeah, France feels good to me. But I hadn't picked the place, right? I went to Paris, but that wasn't my city. But when I hit Perpignan, there was a feeling that came over me that gave me that drive that Janeen was talking about, that soul calling, you got to get here. And I did what it took to get here. And so I think that is definitely something that will help you get to the why. Because when you feel something and something feels real to you, you're going to do what it takes to get there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think before I came to live in France, I had visited France so many times, sort of like I said, when I lived in the UK, I came to France several times. I traveled around Europe for 6 months and did lots of things. So no, it is expensive to visit the 17 different countries, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I knew from the beginning, I was lucky, I knew from the beginning I was drawn to France. And I've been to Italy, I've been to all these other countries, and it was never the same when I went there. So Yes,
Igami has a
you
question.
did. Hi, Igami. I did say, well, I don't teach, I coach business English. Any prep recommendations for people who want to teach business English? There's courses you can do, English as a second language courses, and teaching English as a second language. And most places that, want teachers to teach English, they want that qualification. So Google those. I can't remember what it is. I don't actually have it, which is why I don't teach English. I coach in it.
And also, Igami, I don't know if you saw the live stream I did 2 weeks ago with Giovanna Mayris. She is in Brunei, and she teaches English there. And there's some information that would be helpful if you have not already watched that to get started with that. And Stacy has a comment. I could not afford to visit the 17 countries on my list of possible locations, so cultural centers in Chicago were my visits abroad without leaving home.
Also, you can do a lot on YouTube, like Googling YouTube, watching videos of other people living in those countries. There's a lot of research. We're lucky, these days that we can do so much online and find out so much. So I would say do so much research, find out the good and the bad about each different country. Join groups like my Facebook group is Expat Women in France. And there's many women in that group who haven't actually moved to France, but they're thinking about it. And so they ask questions about, what's good, what's bad, where's a good place. So yeah, look up your Facebook groups and join the groups for the countries that you're interested in.
Yeah, great. Well, Janeen, this has been wonderful. I think we've covered a lot here, and I am so thankful for you joining me today. It's been a fun conversation filled with laughs and some serious stuff as well. But I think it's all good because, as you say, the older we get, the more likely we're going to have aging parents as something to work through as we make moves abroad. So I want to thank you for sharing that and being so vulnerable with that.
You're very welcome. And it's been a pleasure to be here and do this with you and to chat with everyone who asked the questions. Thank you so much for the questions.
Yes, very engaging. Yes, thank you everybody who has joined live and asked the questions. And if you're watching the replay, thank you for watching.
Yeah.
All right. So, I do want a quick note. So I am going to be back in Richmond, Virginia. I'm going to have a meetup on February 25th at the Starbucks at Short Pump Town Center. I will definitely post information on YouTube. I've posted it on Facebook as well. So if you are in the Richmond, Virginia area on the 25th of February, I would love to see you. Yeah, probably no live stream next week, but I will see what I can do about the week after that.
And if you come to the French Riviera, Patricia, we need to meet up. And I haven't got any plans to come to Perpignan, but it is a beautiful place. I love it.
It's when I come to the French Riviera, because
I will see you.
I have not been there yet. And
you have to come. Yeah. You have to come. Let me know and I'll show you around.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.